Have you ever heard of a man who earned the first Ph.D. for an African American from Harvard, co-founded the NAACP, and became a global icon for black liberation, only to renounce his American citizenship in his final years? This is the story of W.E.B. Du Bois, a true giant of history whose life was as complex as it was brilliant. His journey from a small town in Massachusetts to the heart of a global movement for equality is a powerful tale of intellect, activism, and unwavering conviction. Born in 1868 in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, William Edward Burgard Du Bois grew up in a relatively tolerant community. He excelled in his studies, graduating as the valedictorian of his integrated high school. But his world changed when he went south to attend Fisk University in Tennessee on a scholarship. It was there he first encountered the brutal reality of Jim Crow racism and the deep-rooted African-American culture of the South. This experience lit a fire in him, a fire that would fuel his life's work. Determined to use education as a weapon against injustice, Du Bois set his sights on the Ivy League. He enrolled at Harvard University, where he not only earned a bachelor's and a master's degree, but in 1895, he made history, becoming the first African-American to receive a doctorate from the prestigious institution. His dissertation, The Suppression of the African Slave Trade to the United States of America, became the first book in the Harvard Historical Studies series. This was just the beginning of his monumental intellectual contributions. But Du Bois wasn't content to stay in the ivory tower. He was a man of action. He believed in fighting for immediate and full civil rights. This put him in direct conflict with another prominent black leader of the time, Booker T. Washington. While Washington advocated for economic self-sufficiency and vocational training, accepting social segregation for the time being, Du Bois saw this as a dangerous compromise. He argued that without political power, economic gains were meaningless. This clash of ideologies defined a critical debate within the black community at the turn of the 20th century. In 1905, Du Bois gathered with other black intellectuals and activists near Niagara Falls to form the Niagara Movement, a direct challenge to Washington's accommodationist policies. This group demanded equal rights in every sphere of American life. Though the Niagara Movement was short-lived, its principles laid the essential groundwork for what was to come. 4 years later, in 1909, Du Bois joined with a group of white and black progressives to co-found the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP. As the director of publicity and research for the NAACP, Du Bois founded and edited its official magazine, The Crisis. For over 2 decades, The Crisis was his megaphone. He used it to expose the horrors of lynching, to champion black art and culture, and to relentlessly advocate for social and political equality. It became the most influential and widely read journal of the civil rights movement's early years. Through his powerful essays, he also introduced the concept of the talented tent, the idea that a class of college elite African Americans had a special duty to lead the race and uplift the masses. His vision extended far beyond America's borders. Du Bois was a central figure in the Pan-African movement, which advocated for the unity and independence of all people of African descent worldwide. He organized several Pan-African congresses, bringing together leaders from Africa, the Caribbean, and the United States to demand an end to colonialism and to fight for global black liberation. He understood that the struggle for freedom in America was deeply connected to the struggle for freedom in Africa and across the diaspora. As the years went on, however, Du Bois grew increasingly disillusioned with the United States. He felt the country would never truly commit to racial equality. He watched the slow pace of change, the continued violence, and the systemic oppression, and his political views became more radical. He embraced socialism, believing that capitalism was a root cause of racism and imperialism. Finally, in 1961, at the age of 93, he made a dramatic decision. He officially joined the Communist Party and moved to Ghana at the invitation of its president, Kwame. There, he renounced his American citizenship and began work on a massive project, an encyclopedia of the African diaspora. An Encyclopedia of the Ghana, on August 27, 1963. In a moment of profound historical irony, his death occurred on the very eve of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. One of the most pivotal moments of the civil rights movement. The hundreds of thousands of people gathered at the Lincoln Memorial were the very realization of the mass protest he had championed his entire life. The man who had laid so much of the intellectual and activist foundation for that day was not there to see it, but his spirit was everywhere. His legacy as a scholar, activist, and a relentless fighter for justice continues to inspire generations. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into history's most compelling figures.